Hi, I'm Christian. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Today we're working on a Amana bottom mount freezer. The customer's complaint is that the refrigerator or the freezer, neither section is cooling. The freezer section, the bottom, is the only section that cools down. It uses the evaporator fan motor to divert the cool air to the fresh food section through a damper. Motorized damper. Once the fresh food section is cool, the damper will shut and the unit will stay in standby mode until it has to cool again. So one thing I have noticed already is that there was a clicking noise coming from the refrigerator in the back section. That's actually coming from the start device on the compressor. The compressor is not coming on, so we need to see what's going on with the compressor, if it's good or bad. So to begin the repair, we're going to pull it out so we can work in the back. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. The tools you will need for this repair are a multimeter, a pair of needle nose pliers, a 1/4 inch nut driver, or a 1/4 inch drill bit incorporated with a drill. We've already removed the back panel to access the components in the back. The components that we're going to be accessing is the actual compressor itself and the starting components for the compressor. The starting components consist of a run capacitor, a start relay, and an overload. To begin removing the start device off of the compressor, there is a spring clip that holds the starting component in place. You want to go ahead and, using a pair of needle nose pliers, flex that spring out of its position by pulling towards the compressor and lifting up, then it'll fall right off. So I'll go ahead and set the spring aside. Of course, we do have the power disconnected while we are diagnosing the refrigerator. Next step is to remove the actual starting component. You just pull right off. Try not to wiggle because the component is on 3 prongs to the compressor, so you don't want to break the prongs off. Just like that. So now this is the starting component. You can see there's 2 wires that go to it. We're going to go ahead and lift up on the clip and pull off, just like that. So you can hear that the starting components, the relay inside the starting components, are actually broken. So this is actually bad. We don't even have to test it. Now that we have the start device removed, we're going to go ahead and ohm out the compressor. When ohming out the compressor, there are 3 different windings. There are 2 smaller windings that'll equal the greater winding. For example, it's usually, we'll say the greater winding will be 9 ohms. So the 2 lesser windings should be 5 and 4. We're going to go ahead and start. The greater winding is usually the 2 windings that are right next to each other. So we have 10 ohms on the greater winding. I'm going to test one of the lesser ones. We have 5 on one and 5 on the other. Just one more check on the compressor. I want to make sure that none of the windings are grounding out on the ground. So I'm going to set my meter to continuity and just go from each winding to each one of these copper lines. Alrighty, and that seems to be okay. This is the old start device, and this is the new start device. You can see they look pretty much identical. So I just want to show you that we have both the parts here. This is the old one. You can shake it, it's not supposed to make that noise. Here's the new one. It's quiet. So to begin the repair, we're going to go ahead and start lining it up. You're going to look at the 3 little inserts here, the actual, we'll call them the female ends that hook up to the male end of the compressor. There's 3 of them. The way that I'm holding it right now is the way it's going to go onto the compressor. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and plug in the actual wires that go to the start device. Now it's key to go on only one way, so there's no way that you can plug it in wrong. And also there's only 2 wires, so they're just going to complete a circuit. It doesn't matter which way the wire is going to go on. Again, there's only one way for it to go on though. So just line up the Molex connector on the new start device and then just push it in place. You'll hear a slight click once it's in place, just like that. So now we're going to go ahead and feed the new starting component where it's supposed to be, line it up on the compressor, and then we're just going to push it right on. we also have to reinstall the spring clamp that we took off the old start device. This actually holds it and mounts the new start device in place. To do so, the way that I'm holding the spring is the way that it's going to go onto the starting device and compressor. The long hook is going to hook into a opening that's on the bottom of the compressor. Just line it up in here. Always put the bottom hook in place first. And once the bottom hook's in place, you can go ahead and just push the spring and it'll clamp onto the opening up top, just like that. Now just connect the Molex connector right in place. It's gonna push right into its slot, just like that. Now we're ready to install both the back panels. This back panel is gonna go on first. This is actually, if there was an ice maker hooked up, would be where the actual water inlet valve would go. You could see the wire connections there. So we're just gonna go ahead and line it up with the screw holes and return the 2 1/4-inch screws that go on the left-hand side first, and then the one on the top. Now we're ready to install the unit cover. This unit cover covers the condenser fan motor and the compressor. It's referred to as the unit cover. So to do so, there's some notches at the very bottom here that are gonna feed in front of this bottom lip here. So go ahead and line it up. The power cord slot is gonna get slid right here, and you just line it up, push it straight down, line up the rest of the panel, and then we can return the rest of our 1/4-inch screws. I'm gonna start on the right-hand side here. Now I'm not gonna tighten the screws all the way, just start them. That way all the rest of the screws will line up correctly. Now there's one screw that sticks out more than the rest of them. It's a gold colored machine thread screw. This screw is actually gonna go right here in the middle of the panel. This holds the unit panel and we'll call it the condenser fan motor bracket in place so it doesn't rattle. Once you return all the screws and the back panels are completely secured, that will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality in-home repair video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.